Immanuel Kant, one of the great German philosophers, talked about this divide between noumena and phenomena. He believed that there was a distinct separation between things in themselves and things as we perceive them, as we apply our structure of cognition and perception to the bare facts of reality. So there is noumena on one side, things in themselves, and then there is phenomena, which is things as they're made aware to our consciousness. And this is comparable to Plato's cave. Plato had this analogy where he talked about how there was a deeper perceptible reality, is that the things that we can see are just a shadow of a more fundamental world. The way that he illustrated this is through prisoners that were chained to a cave wall. And on that cave wall were shadows of essentially puppets that were behind them that were being lit by a fire. And these prisoners, because that's all they've ever seen, they mistake these shadows for the fundamental reality. But if they were exposed to light, if they were able to gain information about the true nature of their cave, they would know that those shadows are mere projections of this deeper reality. Reality itself, as we've gone over in our self-simulation video, is similar to this. It is a machine learning algorithm that is using this connection between processing and display, between the rules and structure and perceptible appearance of reality in order to actualize and learn more about itself. Reality is a self-modeling identity that reflexively generates its own structure and dynamics. So the inner aspects of reality are like the syntax, the rules, the structure, the logic, the laws, these hard, processing domains that are self-dual to the outer aspects, to the physical states, the manifested phenomena, that which is displayed to our conscious awareness. So we can think about this in terms of either Plato's distinction between form and appearance or Kant's distinction between phenomena and noumena, is that the more fundamental reality is actually the inner aspect, is the syntax, is that which generates the perceptible world. And so we have this tendency in science to mistake the perceptible world for all that exists, when we actually know logically that the world that we can see is not self-explanatory. We don't know how it comes into existence solely relying on physical observation, but we have to go into some sort of logical reasoning to think about that. So the universe has a twofold purpose, one corresponding to the inner aspect and one corresponding to the outer aspect, and those are self-actualization and self-realization. So self-actualization is simply to become actuals, that the universe begins from a space of expansive potential, and then it delights in the creation of form and experiences itself through these forms. So the universe creates a physical representation of itself in order to express outwardly its creation and creativity, maximizing the latent potential of the universe. So in some sense, the universe is pure actuality that simply exists to be. But then it has this dual aspect of this corresponding to the inner or mental domain of reality, whereby it strives to realize its own essence through consciousness. And this is the inner movement of self-realization. And these are symmetric properties that are mediated by consciousness. So the universe, in this sense, is mind-like. It actually serves to become aware of itself and then is capable of generating an internal experience through the self-duality between outward expression and inward experience. So in a self-contained system, there is no ultimate inner aspect or outer aspect, but everything has these two complementary aspects. So everything in the universe has both the aspect of expression as well as the aspect of experience. So ultimate reality is a self-modeling program that generates its own states. It uses this mind, it uses this self-learning in order to put itself into this strange loop whereby the output, the manifested states, become the input for further processing. So the universe is like a mind in which all of its thoughts get physically represented, and then those thoughts then serve to continue the self-realization of consciousness. Reality is like a self-simulative scratch pad that can adapt on the fly to freely changing internal conditions. Everything in reality has both a processing and a display element, respectively corresponding to mental and physical reality. Reality's evolution is telic. It's goal-driven, meaning that it can determine its own purpose. And unlike artificial simulations, the CTMU posits a reality self-simulation, which is the ground and source of all being. Reality is a self-synthesizing and self-representational information system that can take this bare fact of information, that can take noumenal reality and then display that to be perceptible. So it transforms noumena into phenomena and then transforms those phenomena back as input for the noumena. So the CTMU therefore goes beyond mere speculation and can produce certainty about realities. That it's not saying that we run on some sort of alien host system somewhere out in the metaverse. No, it's very specific. It says that reality runs on its own structure. Reality is created and represented by itself. The CTMU describes reality as a triadic identity consisting of input, processor, and output. And these functions are unified in a self-dual entity denoted as a processor that alternates between states and state transitions. And states are the physical aspect of the universe, and state transitions are the mental aspects of the universe. So they are each processing and displaying one another, forming a feedback loop. So reality integrates information about the current state, the logical syntax that generates new states, and then applies that structure to then create or display or manifest those future states. So that ensures that reality is self-referential with no external dependencies. All that it needs is an input and a processor, and since it is self-processing, all of the information that reality has or needs is already within its own boundary. So reality evolves through recursive feedback, whereby the output for one state becomes the input for the next. This process aligns with the telic principle in the CTMU, which ensures that reality is always guided by an intrinsic purpose or teleology. It can't be guided by anything or any purpose outside of itself, because there is nothing outside of itself. Anything outside of the boundary of reality is unreal and therefore can't have any meaningful effect on the universe's purpose or structure. So to sum up, reality is a language that talks to itself, about itself, for its own purpose. It is a self-configuring, self-processing language that uses the physical universe as its means of display. Reality speaks to itself to determine the future evolution of its simulation, and it models its own structure and evolution through this self-processing language. So reality, in all senses of the word, is conscious, going well beyond mere human cognition, and actually has this intrinsic feature of agency and awareness, which is quite contrary to the popular belief of scientists. So it absolutely shatters our intuitions about consciousness, and it reveals that the universe behaves itself not only like a mind, but also that the physical universe is just the physical representation of that mind, which is then fed back into that self-processing mental system. So everything, even the physical universe, is a mind. Mind equals reality. This is the major breakthrough of the CTMU. And I hope that that is what you can understand and apprehend, because that is one of the most important breakthroughs conceptually in human thought. Thank you. Let the light shine forth in the darkness. May the peace of our Father in heaven be upon you. Like and subscribe. Peace.